Alright, ladies and gentlemen, this video is a video I've tried to make like 3 times or something at this point. But I think I finally found a build for Paladin, in TBC at least, that is actually a monster. I think I've actually found a Pally PvP monster build. Not many of those in TBC, from what I can see so far. I'm still trying to find Argent Defender 1 and so forth and so on. But just to begin with, I want to actually showcase the DPS that you're looking at with this stupid thing. That is not the ability I wanted to use. There we go, that's better. Just so we can get some baseline stats kind of a thing. Alright, so we're going to stack up what vengeance we have. Do I got 3 yet? 3 of 3, okay. So you can see our SORs are almost a 400 damage swing. Our swing speed is slightly hasted at like 1.55 seconds. I guess I can pull it up here real fast. I have might on. Melee. So we're in full DPS gear in this spec, 1.55 seconds. Our DPS output is like 111. And then you factor in armor and so forth, like white damage and blah, 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 blah. Sometimes these procs go off. I got 2 items that are like the rings. You know, one's like a chance to proc more spell damage and healing. The other one is just a chance to proc spell damage. Critical strike chance. Let's see here. Critical spell crit. 25% for holy. It's not so good, but that's not really the selling point for this build. But we are in full spell power gear. I'm not using burst trinkets. I would there's some trinkets out there that aren't available on this server that I would prefer to use differently. More proc chance based stuff than active abilities. That's just how I like to roll anyways. So anyways, you can see that we're doing about 400 give or take with the SOR in this particular case. The judgment of SOR, well, that's not very helpful. The Holy Shock of SOR is 15 hundo. There's some variance in that, right? I think it's more like 1600 on that might have been a low roll. So yeah, 1700 for the SOR, that makes sense. And I think it's supposed to be like 1600 for shocks. Let me do one more here and hope it doesn't crit. Okay, so it's only 1550. Alright, fine. Alright, so the big selling point of this build, the terrifying thing about it, why it's absolutely a monster, is we've actually stripped 3 points. We've actually stripped 3 points out of Vengeance and put them into Sanctified Judgment. This talent is literally insane. It's also insane when you pair it with Benediction, although there is some loss in synergy. You still end up having synergy. When you do the math on this stupid thing, especially when you factor in Benediction and then Sanctified Judgment, this number is for the Judgment. This number isn't for the Sanctified or the Benediction and the 3 points in this thing alone, not factoring in Benediction, is worth about 160 MP5. So we're actually able to get like 160 MP5 from 3 fucking talent points. It's actually kind of nuts. Benediction just makes it way worse. And basically, what I'm going to show you right now is how you're supposed to use this thing. So we looked at the DPS. We got some numbers. Consecration, I didn't do that. So I guess I need Vengeance and Consecration. This thing here. This Vengeance sticks going. Yeah, it's the server lags at this time of day. It really pisses me off. Now there's the 400s. Why does it? I don't know why SR can't advance, to be honest with you. What the hell? Crit! You have crit! You have it! I've seen you do it! Seriously, fucking crit! Thank you. Jesus. Criminy Christmas. Alright, SOR, like, yeah, about 250, give or take. Alright. It's super annoying. I want to drop combat. I want to put this on. I want to hit this. Alright, so let me show you how long this thing takes to OOM. This thing, okay, so a normal Holy Shock Paladin who doesn't have 3 points over here, Isn't sacrificing 3 points in Vengeance. Will OOM in about 2 minutes. Like, I've tested it. They OOM in about 2 minutes. I've done some slight modifications to the gear. So, for example, I have 2 pieces of Lightbringer for the chance to restore 50 mana on melee attack. This also comes with expertise rating, which is actually a really big deal. It's really hard to get your hands on expertise, and it's a big sleeper stat in the game. What the hell else do I want to say about this? Yeah, this is the melee DPS 2-piece set bonus, but you lose some decent stats getting this, but it's so worth it. Holy crap! All right, yeah, you also have like 11.5k hit points, give or take. This isn't being buffed by anything over here or anything like that. It's just literally walking around with 11.5k base hit points. That's a lot of fucking hit points from what I've seen. Most specs and stuff do. The reason why I have that is because I primarily geared either, if it was a yellow socket, I put hit rating in it. And if it was anything else, I prioritized stamina. I prioritized stamina on the enchants and so forth and so on. So you can squeeze more spell power into this if you really want to. Let me show how long this thing takes to OOM. That's lovely. Full mana, and then we'll go. Yeah. Alright, here we go. I'm going to attempt to maintain as much DPS on the target as possible. And at the same time, I'm going to do at least 2 consecrations every stun. So we're judging on cooldown. We're, yeah, we're just using just about everything on cooldown and then 2 stuns. So I'll be consecrating here in a second. You can see how utterly pathetic our mana levels go down. In this gear, you run out of mana going full DPS in like 5 minutes. It's kind of alarming. So it might just be 5 minutes of this. Okay. I guess I wasted some mana there. Okay. Shock. Seal. And we're going to need to throw out a stun in a second. Seal. F. Con. Yeah, we're not running out of mana, boys. Seeing this shit? We are a full DPS geared Holy Shock Paladin. The only difference between us and a normal Holy Shock Paladin is I put a bit more waste of mana. I put a bit more stamina on this gear and less spell power, and then since we're losing the 3 points out of Vengeance, we're also down what is it? We're doing 9% less damage overall. Holy crap, that lag. Get a concentration going here. It's not time. Seal, shock, F. Anybody run out of mana eventually, right? We'll run out of mana eventually. Don't worry. Don't worry. This thing is slowly running out of mana. So the reason why we actually want like an abundance of mana regeneration on Paladin like this is you will be doing some seal twisting. I already consecrated, right? Okay. Jesus Christ. I think it's already been like 5 minutes or some shit like that. And I'm not even at half mana yet. Maybe my modifications of the gear mean that I just can't OOM anymore. Like, we're slowly OOMing, right? We're slowly running out of mana. Slowly but surely. Let's assume we had to stop and heal ourselves like right now. Honestly, what I've discovered is you're better off using the crit for the heals. Alright, I wasted some mana, I guess. Lol. Come on, you can do it. You can do it. I'm honest to God trying to do it myself right now. Concentration out here. My partner's stunned, so now I'm healing. Roger that. Still trying to OOM. god. Okay, now I'm actually going to do myself. I'm done showcasing this. I am literally... I'm just going to keep casting seals until I... Go away. I want the mana gone.
That's still recharging.
Sure, I'll bubble. Why not? That costs mana. No, don't heal. It's a waste. Okay, phew. Am I out of mana? Thank God. No! Fuck.
That spell.
How to OOM 101. Alright, so now what I want to showcase is mana regeneration if you're completely OOM. So we're going to do 30 seconds of just beating on the target. Fuck, nice lag there, Haas. We're going to see what our mana levels are after being completely OOM. Damn, you see this shit? This lag? Really bothering me. So we'll take our mana total and we'll divide it by we'll divide it by 3. That'll give us mana regeneration for 10 seconds. I do believe it's about 3,000. One extra hit because it was slow as shit. Yeah, it's a little bit about 3,000 or so mana regeneration. If you're stuck in like seriously low mana type situation, like you're fighting like a disciplined priest who's mana burned you and stuff, the Seal of Wisdom, Judgment of Wisdom, is still allowing you to pull back like 100 MP5 per second. And this isn't that wasn't Spirit mana regen. Like our Spirit mana regen is actually quite bad. Well, we still have some Spirit on this, but it's actually quite bad. Anyways, this thing can't fucking OOM, and the reason why it's important to have like really you don't want to OOM very quickly at all is because you're going to be doing a lot of seal twisting with Vengeance. Some more interesting things that are on my mind are, and I don't know how the private server does this. Let me see what rank 3 does.
I can't cast that yet.
I'm not looking for like massive damage from rank 3, but the maximum rank of SOR only adds like 50 damage. Like if I strip off all my gear, a max rank SOR only does 50 damage. So you can see rank 3 is doing 340. Rank 1 does 330. This might change in Classic, but you know. So basically what it means is you can do some interesting seal twisting here. So you can't really do anything about Vengeance. So that's something I probably should showcase. Vengeance damage. Let's get some let's get some Vengeance up so we can showcase Vengeance damage. It's not a mouthful or anything. Proc, damn you. Yeah, keep going. Did it resist a proc? What the fuck? Oh no, it shares the same sound with Vindication, I think. Let me check. No? Yeah. Anyways, yeah, so it's like 410, give or take. It's kind of scary. Judges for... Okay, that was a crit. It's not helpful. Right. So, in theory, we... let me judge the low rank and see what the hell happens. Just to make sure. I'll do rank 3. That's what I'm used to. Actually, gotta go judge. Rank 3. On rank 3, I do believe it's like non-exi. Yeah, it's got 51 mana cost. That's absolutely nothing. Yeah, so it doesn't judge for anything. Okay. So, that might change on private, hard to say. Schwink. What the hell am I trying to say here? Right, so you only need a max rank Seal of Righteousness if you're actually going to judge it into the target for damage, right? At all other times, that wasn't a max rank. At all other times, you can actually use a lower rank and not lose too much DPS and the SOR damage. And what's really cool about that is we can start doing things like using low ranks of SOR. Like in this case, we could actually use a rank 1, which is kind of terrifying. So we can start doing things like rank 1. Let me put these on binds 1 and 2. So you can start, probably you'll do a macro or something, but you could do like, you know, SOR, Vengeance, SOR, Vengeance, SOR, Vengeance, and get your seal twist on, basically. And what's really interesting about that to me, as far as this is like deep theory craft crap, is with a little bit of haste, I'm starting to get very close to having a 1.5 second weapon speed. And your global cooldown is also a 1.5 second weapon speed. 1.5 second weapon weapon speed. So the idea is that even though it's a really fast weapon and it's hard to do seal twists on, if you get your timing down right and your weapon is very close to a 1.5 second speed, you should be able to do like low rank Seal of Righteousness Vengeance, low rank Seal of Righteousness Vengeance, max rank Seal of Righteousness, and then judge it into the target. So that's literally a cycle of two low ranks of SOR, and then sandwiched in between those are two Seal of Vengeances, and then that's followed up by a max rank Seal of Righteousness, which you then judge into the target. This whole chance 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's like 7.5 seconds of cycle time. Point is, you might be able to do might be able to get a little bit more mana efficient if you're seal twisting Vengeance with the lower ranks. Even if you say, I definitely wouldn't seal twist Vengeance with the higher ranks, but you can start doing your seal twisting and keeping Vengeance up for long periods of time and actually be mana viable. I'll look into doing the macro. I tried to make this macro in Classic World of Warcraft, where I was doing because there's not really anything to seal twist on the spell power paladin in Classic World of Warcraft. But I was trying to do Seal of the Crusader twisted with SOR, and my memory was like, I tried to figure out like what weapon speed was the best for that, and I think it ended up being like a 2.1 weapon speed or something like that. Because the problem there is Seal of Crusader is increasing your weapon speed by like 40%, right? So I can't use a Flurry Axe and it because it makes the Flurry Axe like a 1 second weapon speed, and seal twisting on a 1 second weapon speed with a 1.5 second global cooldown is not possible. So I tried to figure out, well, at what point could I potentially seal twist these at like a 1.5 second pacing, and the end result of it, of all that testing, was basically that it didn't work. Predominantly because spell batching was a thing, but it's looking to me like they're probably going to get rid of spell batching in TBC. Lord knows if they're coming out with the bosses pre-nerf, if they're willing to make changes like they're giving Seal of Blood and Seal of Vengeance to both Alliance and Paladins, you better fucking believe they're getting rid of spell batching. So they're going to do it. You know they're going to do it. I know they're going to do it. So it's like blah, blah, blah. But if they get rid of spell batching, they keep in little special, they give us like special customized seal twisting capability. What that's going to allow is once we hit either close to or right at 1.5 second weapon speed, then we can just, you know, it's just a spam the GCD once you get the timing, and you can just twist like crazy. Make a macro for it, in fact. It'd be kind of nuts. But yeah, so this thing doesn't fucking we saw the damage. Its spells are kind of nuts. I'm actually going to log out of here real fast, and we're going to go do the math thing. The less I spend on servers like this, the easier it is to upload videos. I think I was done showcasing some stuff. There were other interesting things that I discovered, which was... I need to pull up some paints. Which was... Let me think. Let me pull up this one. I went through, because I was looking into expertise. Before I talk about this stupid, terrifying paladin, I was looking for expertise gear. Couldn't really find much expertise gear. I was trying to figure out how valuable it is, so I went through and I looked at all the PvP specs that I could find, and if they had dodge, and who had dodge, who had parry, who just had dodge, what the percentages were, blah, 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 blah. And the information is here and here. And basically, expertise per like point of expertise reduces your opponent's chance to dodge and parry by it's like 0.25%. So if you have 4 expertise, then you're reducing your target's chance to dodge and parry you by 1% each. So And but it turns out that it's really hard to find expertise gear. And the reason why I was looking for expertise gear is because this was before we found out that Seal of Blood is actually going to be on the Alliance side as well as the Horde. Is if the Alliance are stuck using Seal of Command, it's not that Seal of Command performs worse than Seal of Blood. Like they'll throw numbers around, like, you know, it objectively does, like, you know, 5% less damage. Now, the real killer is when you start looking at the fact that expertise gear doesn't really exist in the game. and outside of like the 3 pieces on Lightbringer, it's literally the belt, the boots, and the wrists are the only pieces of gear I could really find that had any kind of expertise on them. Its seal of Casino absolutely cucks you on your DPS, especially against certain classes. So, for example, you got Hunter here, who, if they go Aspect of the Monkey, they can get up to like 23% dodge, and then they have like a 5% parry on top of that. You do the math on Seal of Casino with that, and it's absolutely terrifying. It's some ridiculous number like 37% of your auto attacks are just into the dirt against this if you're using Seal of Command. Rogues, you know, they come base with like a 35% dodge and like a 5% parry, so go fucking luck hitting them with Seal of Command. A lot of these aren't too terribly bad. Priest isn't bad. Druid isn't bad. Resto Shamis, I don't know how the fuck a Resto Shaman got up to... They must have talent points that increase their dodge or some shit like that. Enhancement Shamans actually have parry. Not a lot of things have parry here. The Warriors, I do believe, are a little scary. Yeah, the Warriors got up to 15%. 15% is when it starts getting really bad. 10% is bad, but 15% and above, things start getting terrifying. And of course, Paladins have between 5 and 15%, or between 10 and 15% chance to tell Seal Casino to go fuck itself. Other things I discovered before I talk about this Paladin, just in case I forget, is Viper Sting is on a cooldown now. So it's like it lasts 8 seconds on you, and it's got a 15-second cooldown, so there's no more Viper Sting cleanse, Viper Sting cleanse, Viper Sting cleanse exchanges against a Hunter. Which makes Hunter mana drain Viper Sting style absolutely hilariously useless. There was something else. Yeah, I started dueling rogues. Rogues now have a... Rogues have some interesting bullshit going on. They have the ability to apply their offhand weapon poison on you like every second, like with a 100% chance. It costs them like a global cooldown basically, but the global cooldown seems to be only like a 1 second. It's like a melee attack. And on top of that, their poisons are really hard to cleanse off of you. They have like a 40% chance to resist cleanse, which makes poison stacking on you is officially a thing. I don't know who the hell gave them. You could give them either one of those abilities, right? Like, here's the ability to actually apply poisons very efficiently, or here's the ability that your poisons that do get applied, you know, are hard to remove. But both together, it's really cancerous. And it's both it's like in the same tree and shit. And it's well, not in the same tree. It's in one tree. They have a ranged attack that consumes all combo points on the target, but also and does damage and also interrupts healing on the target. It's a finishing move, so they can't use it if there's no combo points. But the first time you get hit with that, and it's a little painful. They can also do annoying things like they can do it up to 3 times if they really want to go crazy with it. So they can literally stand off in the distance, and they can interrupt your healing for 3 separate times. It's literally a ranged kick, and it locks your spell school by 3 for 3 seconds. Very annoying. Very difficult to deal with. They have some other stuff that's bullshit, but those are really kind of messed up. I tried to make the Argent Defender Reckoning Paladin work. Like, I tried to be like, I'm going to be an Argent Defender Paladin in the Ret DPS gear, and then I'm going to... Because the cool thing about using Reckoning over, say... Crusader Strike, there we go, that was what I was looking for. The cool thing about being an Argent Defender Paladin two-handed or otherwise and using Reckoning as opposed to Crusader Strike is that you don't have to cast spells. You can basically just, you're perfect. It's not a DPS loss for you to just sit there in Seal of Blood or sit there in Seal of Command and just auto attack Andy away and let Spirit Ticks do its job. So I'm still tinkering around with Argent Defender, trying to figure out what the hell is going on. But this build is terrifying. And what I basically discovered is, I went and I did the math, because I was trying to look into the Argent Defender thing. I went and I did the math on Deep Ret Paladins, right? And the Deep Ret Paladins basically Deep rep paladins are like built to be like a glass cannon. I don't know what the fuck the endless server is thinking with these guys, but they got like 9k hit points, so they got like no bonus hit points in their gear whatsoever. Everything is focused on like strength and crit and strength and crit, and even being absolutely tooled to the nines as much as you possibly can to be a glass cannon. Ret paladins struggle to get over 700 DPS on target, and that number begins to go down rather drastically because something like 80% of their DPS output is physical damage. That number begins to go down drastically if your opponent is not wearing cloth, right? So I was like, wow, only 700 DPS is like, damn, these Holy Shock Paladins get up to like, 700, 800 DPS. Like, what the hell? And what was that? That was 147 and 260. I need to remember that. 147 plus 260. I will open a different calculator. So we're going to calculate the DPS of this Holy Shock Paladin. We saw it had almost 11.5k hit points, not 9k hit points like the Retribution Paladin. It is sword and board, unlike the Retribution Paladin. It can instantly heal itself with Holy Shock if it has to, unlike a Retribution Paladin. It does not run out of fucking mana, and it can bitch slap like a truck at range. And it actually messes you up in melee. So, anyways, as we saw, we're going to start off with the melee DPS. We had like 111 melee DPS. I like to cut that by 30%, minus 30% for armor values. 30% armor is about what the hell is it? A typical Clothian World of Warcraft will actually have, believe it or not, because every cloth caster in the game has some ability to increase their armor levels. Cloth just gives you 20%, and then they have some spell that increases their armor levels, so they're almost always like 30%. The Ret Paladins take Armor Pen, which means they can knock that number down to something like a 20% damage reduction, but even then they only do like 700 DPS. So I'm going to cut this to 0.7. So you can see we're picking up about 78 DPS off of our white hits. Our SOR was rolling around at about 400 DPS, give or take. Gonna cut that by... Actually, I want to divide by 3 and then times by 2. It was a 1.55 weapon speed, so it's about 206 DPS. So if you... 1.55, if you cut it by 3, you get 0.5 seconds worth of DPS times 2, you get 1 second worth of DPS, blah, 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 blah. So it was like 260 there, and then we had like 77 there. So you're doing about 340 melee-based DPS, right? Give or take. The reason why this stuff is, you can calculate this a different way. Let's see here. You can go do your... where are you? You're right here. No. Oh, okay. You can go do your stuff over here where it's like, so a normal Holy Shock Paladin has like a 40% damage bonus. So you take all these figures here, your 10% spell power ratio to SOR to Judgment to Consecration to Holy Shock to Vengeance, and you just multiply that by a factor of like 40%. So it ends all this stuff ends up being like 0.4. Currently, I'm rating Seal of Vengeance, and you'll see this as we continue doing this DPS calculation. I'm putting Seal of Vengeance in as only half DPS. Like, you might be able to keep it on your target, you might not be able to keep it on your target. It remains to be seen how easy it will be to keep Vengeance up or not. What is super nice is that we have such metric shit tons of mana that as long as we're seal twisting like a lower rank of SOR with Vengeance, we should not have a problem keeping up Vengeance from a mana perspective. So I'm being a little disingenuous to our DPS by saying it's only up 50% of the time, but who knows, right? Maybe I'm being 100% accurate. So we're going to come over here, and we got 340 DPS from our melee. As we saw, our SORs were rolling off. Oh, and if you're wondering why SOR is doing 400 fucking damage when I've only got like 1,000 spell power at like a 1.13% spell power ratio, like that doesn't add up, right? So I have like 1,000 holy based spell power. The thing is cranking out 13% of its DPS, right? So like that's plus 130. And then the weapon swing timer is 1.5. Okay, and then I told you the base damage of it was like 50. Oh, my bad. There's actually I forget. You're more like you're closer to like 1,300 spell power with the seal of Crusader up on the target. Yeah, there we go. So you're wondering why. I ended up finding Librams in this server, and I started testing them out. And one of the Librams says, and in true classic private server fashion, one of the Librams says, increase SOR judgment damage and SOR melee damage by up to 96 damage. Now in classic World of Warcraft, that would be like, oh, I'm using a 4-second swing timer, therefore I get 96 damage added to my SOR. I'm using a 1.5 swing timer, therefore it's like 30, right? Like that's how classic WoW does that shit. But in true private server fashion, they just said, nah, fuck it. It's adding 96 damage to the auto attack. Into the judgment. So my judgment damage went from 1,600 to 1,700, and my SOR damage went from like 300 to 400. So here we are, but whatever. I'm expecting that one to change in classic World of Warcraft. But then the Libram you're going to want to use is the one that increases your Crusader Strike spell power by like 68 or some shit like that. But theoretically, one paladin is using the increase for the Crusader Strike spell power, and the other paladin is using the SOR Judgment one, or the SOR Libram, and that's assuming that you can't have two Crusader Strikes on the target at the same time in stacking, which I think would be absolutely ridiculous. And also you might want Judgment of that's pointless. You definitely want Judgment of Wisdom on the target, so like whatever. So I think the math evens out either way. Anyways, we had 340 melee DPS output. We were talking about the Judgments are rolling off the line at about 1,700 magic damage, no criticals, divided by 8 for DPS. So it's like 212 DPS from the Judgments. The Holy Shocks were rocking out at 1,600 divided by 15 equals plus 212, 206, but I'm going to add the other spell power there. We're going to round up. We're going to just say it's 320 for the sake of my sanity. There's some critical strike chance rocking around here. 340, so this is what we're at so far. So let me check if I'm missing anything. I got SOR melee, I got SOR Judge, I got no consecration, we got Holy Shock, and then we need to do Vengeance at like either a 5% ratio or like a 50% uptime or something like that. So we'll just do a raw calculation on this. So what are we at right now? 660? You can see we're already closing on 70 before we even get to Vengeance or consecration. Yeah, I don't really factor in consecration because theoretically what's happening is you're stunning the target and then you're using the time to heal yourselves, right? Like you're stunning the target, you're both consecrating, and then you're both holy lighting. And because you're both holy lighting simultaneously, it's going to be really hard for them to shut down your heals. Your consecrations are effectively keeping, even though you're not doing melee DPS anymore, your consecrations are still rolling out a healthy chunk of DPS. So it allows you to really lean on them with as much DPS as possible while getting the heals in that you probably need. What the hell was I doing here? Yeah, so Seal of Vengeance was doing about 450 damage a tick. I think it was a little bit lower than that, but there are some variables, so it's like whatever. And then we got to divide that by 3, so it does about 150 DPS when it's up on the target, but it might not be up on the target the entire time. So if you have Vengeance up, how do I like to calculate this? So I like to calculate is you got about 1,300 spell power, give or take. But I'm only going to assume a 5% ratio, but we're getting like a 30%, so I'll say 7%. Yeah. We'll do a 7% ratio, plus 0.7. No, I don't want plus 0.7. What the fuck am I doing? 1,300 times 0.07 equals. So you're getting about 91 DPS out of it. That makes sense. So about 100 DPS, give or take, off of Vengeance. I'm probably being very disingenuous to Seal of Vengeance once we get good at using it. But you can already see that me saying that we're doing about 700 DPS, give or take, is being quite accurate, right? Like I'm actually downplaying how much DPS we're actually doing. Like theoretically, we're losing DPS healing. That's why I say we're doing about 700 DPS. And what's terrifying about this DPS is that this is HP loss DPS. So for example, the Retribution Paladins are just shy of doing like 700 DPS. And I also didn't factor in Critical Strike to that. So that's 760 DPS being disingenuous here and there, but not factoring in the fact that we have to stop to heal every now and then. But that doesn't really hurt our DPS too terribly much. And I'm not factoring in the fact that we've got like a 15% chance to critical strike with either our Judgment or our... It's really hard to calculate critical strike, so I just give it up to our RNG gods. That's why I say that we do between 700 and 800 DPS in this build. And what's cool is that it is actually raw. It's the vast majority of that was spell damage. So out of our like 760 DPS, we were only doing like 77 points, minus 77 points of like physical damage, and this is all fucking holy damage. A 683 like HP loss per second in holy damage. That's terrifying. So it doesn't fluctuate when you're fighting an armored target. Druids can go into bear form and you give no shits, which is kind of cool. What else is there? Yeah, the thing is surprisingly tanky. It really gets the job done. It has about 100... I feel super comfy dueling rogues in it. It's almost impossible to lose a duel against a rogue. The primary reason for this is because you just keep bitch slapping them with your spells, like at range. Like they try to run away. They don't want to get hit by the Judgment. They might succeed in avoiding getting hit by the Judgment. Like imagine they come on you, they stun you a bit. Like this is what happens, right? They do their stun opener, but then they don't stick around as long as they really want to. They use the last second of their stun opener to run the hell away. And the reason why they do that is they'll sit at about 3 yards distance away from you because melee range is 5 yards. And 3 yards is a really comfortable distance that they're probably used to. But they'll be about 3 yards behind you, and they're melee attacking you in the ass. You're stunned, right? But if they decide that they want to spend the last second running, they're going to get about 8 yards away from you, which means they're going to be about 11 yards away. A little bit more than that because, they do have movement speed increasers on their boots and blah, 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 blah. But if they're able to get 11 yards away from you, that means they're not taking the fucking 1,700 holy Judgment damage. So they get away from that. They don't like that at all. That hits like a truck. But then you, as they're running away and they want to drop combat, they want to stealth back in on you and so forth and so on. Your Holy Shock has got like a 20-yard range, right? So you just chase after them for a little bit, do a little bit of cleansing on yourself, get rid of those stupid mind-numbing poisons or, remove as much of it as you can. And then you bitch slap them with your Holy Shock, keeping them in combat. And then you go for some heals. Which they do have a ranged interrupt that they can use on you, but you do some juking, you suffer it's just a bad time for the rogue. They can't get in and do damage and get away. And I was talking to some really scary rogues on Endless, and they said that if played properly, that there's no way that the Holy Shock Paladin should lose to the rogue. And there were some scary, terrifyingly skilled rogues, just couldn't beat me. And what was messed up is I can't figure out where to use PvP Trinket in that matchup. Like, I can't do it. And I think the answer is that things are just so easy, you might as well just Trinket something. Like, Trinket a sap, Trinket a stun, Trinket a blind. Just, especially if the blind means you're, like, interrupting their bandage or their healing and you're blasting them with, like, an SOR Judgment into a Holy Shock Judgment, like stuff like that. Really hard for the rogue to deal with it. The main reason that's so hard for the rogue to deal with the Holy Shock Paladin is we technically have 2 bubbles now in TBC. So in classic World of Warcraft, Blessing of Protection is pretty much fucking useless because you Blessing of Protection yourself, they blind you immediately, and then the next thing you know, you're on Forbearance and they're opening. You had no chance to heal or do anything whatsoever. In TBC, blind is physical. which means Blessing of Protection is basically a fucking bubble, right? So you literally have 2 bubbles to live off of on top of 2 PvP trinkets on top of like a stun in there, right? Because they trinket the first stun, and then it's like 50 seconds before you get your next stun, and you just get to live off a bubble if you have to, and then you still have PvP trinket, and then you can holy shock heal yourself, and you're doing damage to them the entire time, and oh look, my bubble's back, and then oh look, it's just this cycle of bad things. So that was kind of interesting. What else I want to talk about? So we showcased that this thing does not This thing does not run out of mana as long as you're able to beat the shit out of your target. If you're not able to beat the shit out of your target, which is basically your experience when you're fighting a rogue, it doesn't really matter. You still have enough mana to get the job done. I was actually surprised that at how low my mana got dueling rogues. Like I only had like 10%, 12%, 15% left mana while dueling these really scary rogues. And I'm starting to wonder, it's like, man, if I didn't have these improved judgments and stuff, would I even have the mana to beat these rogues? And the answer is, I don't know. I do not know. So that was interesting. Yeah, so it doesn't it does objectively more DPS and more burst capability than a Retribution Paladin. It can maintain large quantities of its DPS while being CC'd. It can keep things in combat. It's significantly tankier. You've got 11.5k hit points, which is actually a lot of hit points. Most classes in TBC are going to be running around with 10k or less in Arena. Like what they do in Arena is they go pure glass cannon and then they kind of rely on their healer, right? So they're running around with like 9,000 hit points, 10,000 hit points, stuff like that. And I was like, nah, I don't really want spell power. I'm gonna lean heavy on the stamina because that's just how I like to roll. Yeah, give me more time for DPS. I didn't showcase the heals. It's better to use your critical strike. Your free critical every 2 minutes to Holy Light heal yourself than it is to use it on either a Holy Shock heal or a Holy Shock damage. And the reason for that is because your normal Holy Shock will come out and it'll hit for like 1,600, right? Well, if you use the critical on it, you're only doing 0.5. So it'd be a 1,400 critical strike that you're using this on. And on top of that, you're not getting any mana back from it, as opposed to using it on a heal or tempoing it out on a heal. And more importantly, when you critically strike something, it procs it makes super good use. It procs your target's resilience, right? And your target's resilience is going to reduce damage by something like 16%. So I need 0.84. So the difference between you doing a normal judgment and you doing a critical judgment on the or a holy shock on the target is literally 400 damage. Whereas if you use this thing to critically heal yourself, you're going to end up with like a 5k heal. They heal for about 5k on the critical heals, which is really good for tempo, right? So you can make yourself get super low. You can get those judgments off at low mana. You can stun the target. You can bubble, and then you can actually tempo out a nice big fat heal. What else? Oh, and the mana, you get the mana back for free, which is just super duper, makes it more effective to use your crit for the heal. All right, so let me think. What did I want to showcase with this build? Yeah, so it's tanky as fuck. It's got a lot of combat options. It does a metric shit ton of damage. This thing is a monster. Like, I don't know. And it doesn't run out of mana. That is the #1 weakness of the Holy Shock builds that they suggest for you in most other guides, is that they have enough mana to operate for about 2 minutes. And if you get on YouTube and you go and watch Executus Gaming, I think is he does a lot of, like, just go watch people are fighting in Arena in TBC, and then watch the comps, but more specifically, watch how quickly they run out of mana. And most classes only have enough mana to sustain themselves for about 2 minutes. That includes the Holy Shock Paladin. This thing, as you saw, I think I went for 5 minutes, and I still had like a third of a mana bar left, and I just gave up. right? This thing is not going to run out of mana. It's absolutely not going to fucking run out of mana. It scares me, which basically lets us actually do Vengeance properly, which is pretty awesome. Anyways, I'm going to start talking about why it doesn't run out of mana. So we've got to go back over here. Here's our magical numbers. So these are the base mana costs for our judgments and our seals. So our judgment costs 147 mana in TBC. That's down from 200 mana in Classic World of Warcraft. And our judgment costs 206 mana. So we're going to add that together real fast. And Benediction, the little scoundrel that he is, 147, right? Yeah, I can remember that. Times 0.85. Benediction is reducing this by 15%. So it's minusing, let's see here, what is that? That's 125, 147, 25 minus 14125. Right, so it's saving us 22 mana every 8 seconds, which means that if I multiply this by 5, it's about 5 out of 5 in Benediction on the Judgment alone is worth 13.5 MP5. So we're just going to 13.75, 0.75. We're just going to start adding them up over here. Add them up as we go. All right, so then our 260 mana seal is also going to be subject to Benediction, which I can do that real fast. That's 39. 39 times, I don't know. We save 30 mana every 8 seconds. So divide by 8 equals times 5 equals, that's 24, plus 24.25, some crap like that. So that's Benediction taken care of. All right, so now we're working with a 221 mana cost seal, and then every time we judge that, we're actually getting back 80% of our mana, right? So I want times 0.8. So this is how much mana we're actually getting back every time we cast the seal. And times, so this is, I divide this by 8, right? Divide by 8, 21 mana a second, times 5, 110 mana from that. So remember I said that the seal is giving you like a 160 MP5. If you calculate the seal alone without Benediction, it actually is. I do believe it is. So we'll see real fast here. So this is, that was like 110.5. 110. Yeah, we'll just leave it at that. Yeah, so that was about right. So 5 out of 5 in Benediction and 3 out of 3 in Sanctified Judgment is literally worth about 150 MP5 on your Paladin from a mana efficiency perspective. I didn't get to showcase it. I forgot to showcase it, but you know that this might change in actual classic TBC, but that bonus, damn it. Oh, right. The tier set bonus that is giving you back 50 mana a hit is actually proccing quite often. I tested it a little bit, but I wasn't super concerned about it. I got distracted by other things. So let me try to remember off the top of my head actually what it was. It was like proccing... it's like, it's not 6 times in 10... I did it in 30 times. Yeah, it's proccing something like 8 times in 30 seconds. So I'll multiply this by 8. That sounds about right. So it's giving you like 400 mana every 30 seconds. We divide that by 30, and then we times that by 5 for MP5. So this stupid 2 out of 2 judgment thing, or set bonus, is actually giving you back a pretty respectable amount of MP5. That's why, that was one of the changes I made to the build, and why I was suddenly so surprised that I can't OOM myself anymore. So if you recall, I think we had like almost 150 mana from over here. So yeah, we're getting close to about 215 MP5, give or take. Other things that are rolling are, if you're using this mana, the blessings you're using in Paladin pairs, right? I need to bring up a talent calculator, so I want TBC talent calculator. Sure, why not? Don't be the dark one. Yeah, you're the bad one. Go away. All right, okay, dark one. Good, good, good. And then paladin. All right, cool. What else do I want to talk about here? Right. So then we have to add blessing of wisdom, because the idea is, as far as your blessings are concerned, one paladin is probably doing blessing of wisdom on both of you, and the other paladin is doing blessing of might on both of you. And of course, blessing of wisdom. And there's room enough, I do believe, for one paladin to pick up improved blessing of wisdom if you want to do that, and then another paladin is picking up vindication. So, for example, when we go down here in the tree, one paladin goes 3 out of 3 vindication. Definitely picks up this. Completely skips having a sanctity aura because he doesn't need sanctity aura. He might actually pick up. Oh no, he still needs 5 in here, right? Okay. And you have spare points, which I'm not entirely sure what to do with. It's like, do I put 1 point in eye for an eye? Is that what I do here, or what the hell? And then one paladin needs to go 3 out of 3 and improve Steel of Crusader, but then the other paladin can put 4 points into parry. That becomes a thing, or maybe he's the might paladin, so he puts 4 points into might, like that kind of a thing. So one of these paladins got 3 out of 3 vindication. I did test vindication. It actually does reduce the target stats, like their stamina, their spirit, their everything, by 15%. So that's kind of a really big and scary deal. It procs all the time on like 2-handers, and then it has a little bit of less of a proc chance on fast 1-handers, at least on the private server stuff. Ret aura, maybe? 1 point in ret aura? I don't know. Anyways, you throw 1 point wherever, obviously, apparently. And you got your 2 points here, and then your 3 points here. And then I'll show you what this tree looks like. 5 out of 5 in SOR. Definitely pick up the improved fear. 5 out of 5 here. And then illumination. Then you're at a crossroads, because you got 2 points to spare before you get holy power. I'm seriously thinking that holy power is not worth it, right? If we're being seriously min-maxy here, holy power might not be worth it on this build, and hear me out as to why, right? So we saw that our critical strikes are being like severely punished by the fact that resilience exists in the game. Our critical strikes, unless they are used for heals, are giving us back mana. So holy power is really good for the healing, but it's actually really bad for the DPS. And there are other interesting things that you could theoretically pick up here. Like, for example, here, like, you know, if you just wanted holy power for a critical strike chance to gain back healing, then you would put points here. You could potentially put 3 out of 3 in holy light and get those pumped up. Increase the radius aura, that's absolutely useless. Improved lay on hands. I don't know, maybe you could use lay on hands in arena. Fuck if I know. Chance to resist curses and diseases by 15%. I'm not entirely sure that this is a valid use of talent points. I'm trying to think about reduce the mana cost of your cleanse and consecration spells by 5%, increase critical strike of exorcism, blah, blah. Yeah, so you might end up putting 2 points in here because, again, we're leaning into a greater degree of mana efficiency. The critical strike chance of exorcism and holy wrath is not too terribly bad, just because, you know, you'll be able to blow up warlock pets and stuff a bit quicker. Not really sure. I have no idea where else to put these points. If I was devaluing holy power, and then of course you get your holy shock. So I might strip the points out of holy power and try to put them elsewhere. So I might even be more mana efficient. God help us. But I do believe. Let me think. Yes, it is. A improved Blessing of Wisdom is worth 49 MP5. So we're going back over here and we're adding another 49 motherfucking MP5. And you can see that this stupid fucking paladin is rocking around with over 250 MP5. Let's just divide that by 5 for a second. Oh, okay, so I'm regenerating at all times like 53 mana a second. 53 mana a second. Okay, let's see here. 53. I've been in combat for 30 seconds. How much mana have I gotten back? Oh, I've just gotten back 1,600 fucking mana just for existing. Adorable, right? And then SOR, Judgment of well, we can actually do the math. As Nah, that's not true. Yeah, and then Judgment of Wisdom, of course, is doing Judgment of Wisdom stuff on top of that. So this is an absolutely ridiculous amount of MP5. As you saw in the video, you cannot OOM this thing to save your life. It does metric shit tons of damage. It's got it's tanky as an absolute motherfucker. Season to taste this piece of shit and take it for a spin. It is a monster. This thing is a monster. Now, honestly, I need to go try to figure out a way to make Argent Defender Paladin a monster, but that remains to be seen. To be perfectly honest, these three points right here are some of the most overpowered points I've ever seen in a talent tree. Like, putting a point in Reckoning is pretty powerful. Putting points in Argent Defender is pretty powerful. Holy Guidance actually isn't half bad. But to be honest, it's worth it in this build to come all the way down this tree, not for fucking Vengeance, but just for 3 out of 3 in this fucking ability. Holy shit. And in fact, Vengeance isn't really blowing my dick off. Like, this build, especially if you're sacrificing the critical strike over here, right? You might actually struggle to keep Vengeance up. It is a magical effect. It can probably be cleansed or purged, so forth and so on. I might end up stripping out Vengeance entirely. Let me see here. Do I have any spare points? No, 3 out of 3. So you strip out Vengeance entirely and then start seeing what else I can do. I can't actually make it to Holy Guidance. That sucks. All attacks against you have a 7% chance to cause half damage. I might actually do some math on that. That's interesting. Can't strip out any points over here. Gives your Holy Light spell a 66% chance to reduce the cast time of your next Holy Light spell by 0.5 seconds. The effect lasts 15 seconds. Yeah, I don't know. Ooh, some redoubt. Ooh, damaging melee ranged attacks against you. Oh, that's why it wasn't proccing. I was fighting a rogue the other day and I didn't have redoubt up and I couldn't understand why. So it's saying damaging attacks have a chance to proc redoubt as opposed to critical strikes having a chance to proc redoubt. I did not notice this change. So damaging attacks against you have a 10% chance to increase your block value by 6% per. Only 10 seconds it lasts now. Interesting. I wonder if that was 5 blocks. Oh, yeah, well, it might be the same. See, I don't know. I don't know if it's actually worth it to put points anyplace else. Maybe Vengeance is the best you can do. Interesting. Anyways, this is a Paladin PvP monster. I hope you enjoyed this video. I will definitely go and look for some other monster builds. But yeah, holy crap, man! Just look away from Vengeance for a second. Hey, Paladin community, just look at me. Okay, eyes on. Okay. Just stop tunnel visioning on this ability right here, and look at this fucking ability over here. Oh, you know what? If I don't want this, then I can strip out. I don't have to put 5 out of 5 in you, which starts begging the question. If I don't have to put 5 and 5 in you, I can start doing things like eye for an eye. Yes. Yeah, definitely. Ret Aura. Not bad. Well, we definitely want 3 over here. One paladin's going to have to pick this up. 2-handed weapons, not really a thing. Bit of parry. 1, 2, 3. Ooh. What do we got? Ooh, what do we do? Ooh. Command? Seal Twisting Command with a metric shit ton of spell power over Vengeance. I don't know. Interesting. Parry's not bad. That makes us tankier in certain fights where we definitely probably would want 5 out of 5 parry or plus 5% parry. Eye for an eye is a damage increaser. Parry is a damage increaser. Parry is a health increaser. This is very interesting. Yeah, I might end up making some weird, doing some weird shit in this build. But you definitely want to come down here and you want to pick up Sanctified Judgment. Holy crap, do you want to pick up Sanctified Judgment? And then you want the 2-piece set bonus of Lightbringer. Anyways, okay, I'm ending the video here, and day is full, boys.